Yeah, we should definitely talk alignment. I'm curious why you think alignment is bullshit, because I think it's one of the most important problems right now in AI that remains basically unsolved.
I think it's bullshit for three reasons. One is we don't know how to build AGI. I think that part is bullshit. Second, I think even if we did know how to build AGI, if it's truly AGI, then it's a person and it should be able to think on its own. And how are we going to align something when we can't even align with each other? I'm not aligned with you. We're certainly not aligned with many, many other people. So aligning in the AGI just seems impossible. And thirdly, I think all knowledge is interconnected. You cannot stop something from thinking something and also still calling it a general intelligence. You'd basically have to lobotomize it in such a way that it would no longer be a general intelligence. So anyway, I think it's kind of incredibly premature, and I don't think it's really even that solvable. But people like to prognosticate upon it because it's easier than doing the hard work of actually just building something.
So I think it's definitely true that the current algorithms we have are not going to give us like true human level general intelligence. I think everybody in the field understands that because the weird thing about these models is that they are significantly smaller than the human brain, but they ingest way, way more data than the human brain. And they clearly use some different kind of algorithms because as humans, we don't require anywhere near this level of data in order to learn and make good predictions. So I think the realization here is that if we unlock sort of the God algorithm, whatever algorithm the human brain uses, that it's possible that actually with current techniques and the current amount of data that we have, we can train something that is at the level of general human intelligence. And so we don't actually really know how much time we have until that happens, right? There is no single person that can hold as much information fluidly in their head as a GPT-4 can. But so it seems very plausible that there's sort of, this one weird trick that we'll eventually discover. And it's like, now that we got that, all of a sudden, we are already past human level intelligence with these machines. In a way, the transformer itself is the existence proof that just inventing one change to the architecture, all of a sudden, a huge category of problems can be solved with a single model. And that seemed basically impossible and kind of invalidates much of the entire field of NLP, of natural language processing. Basically, it was turned over overnight by just the creation of the transformer.
I don't know if it's just one weird trick. We don't have a good theory of how human intelligence works either. So I think this just goes into the large pile of all the things that could possibly go wrong with the world. And it's not worth worrying about any individual one enough to stifle innovation or progress or try to control the free exercise of mathematics. So I just think it's premature optimization, and it's too easy to come up with these Cassandra complex doomsday scenarios on everything from nuclear weapons to the weather to whatever to large mobs or social media, et cetera, et cetera. I think you can always just come up with doomsday scenarios, and the black swan that always hits you is the one that you expect the least. Sure, just like the creation of the transistor overturned, vacuum tubes and really ushered in modern digital computing, but it doesn't mean that there was suddenly breakthrough after breakthrough after breakthrough at that level. So this might be a one-time thing, and in fact, until proven otherwise, it probably is. These alignment scenarios also posit the creation of a godlike self-improving AGI that is somehow still blockheaded enough to want to wipe us out over scarce resources and not respect its universal knowledge creator parents who brought it here in the first place, and yet is somehow going to be hackable by us to limit its ability to hurt us while not crippling its godlike intelligence. The level of mental gymnastics required for this is quite large.
So this is a point that I very much disagree with. The idea that an AI would obviously, if it's sufficiently intelligent, respect its creators or respect its parents, quote unquote. You could argue the same about us. We descended from the apes, or we have a common ancestor with the apes, and we don't give a shit about our ancestors. In fact, we destroyed all of them. We outcompeted them. We killed them. That actually is, in a sense, a convergent property of sufficiently intelligent systems is that they acquire resources and they become more powerful. So this is one argument of why it's wise to be afraid of intelligent things. But the core point, which is one I think I find very persuasive, is that the scariest thing in the world is intelligence. The only thing that a great ape really needs to be afraid of is a human being, because intelligence is the most powerful thing that you can possibly imagine. It's the thing that allows you to do everything else. And so if you create something that is more intelligent than you, by definition, you should be afraid of it. Human beings, if you map out everything that's happened since the dawn of the universe, everything in human history has basically happened in the last millisecond of the entire hour clock that has been ticking up until now in time, right? Like the intelligence explosion, everything that we think of as structure, basically happened in almost nothing in the span of human history because of the explosion that takes place when you have intelligence. And so the question is, okay, well, if you have something more intelligent than us, how does it increase the rate at which that explosion happens? And is that explosion going to belong to us, or is it going to belong to the intelligence that supersedes us? It's very tempting to imagine AIs like humans. And we always anthropomorphize these things. In fact, we train them to be more anthropomorphic in nature because that's what makes us comfortable, is to talk to an AI that looks like an agent, looks like sort of this virtual butler. But in reality, what we know is that underneath the hood, these things are so inhuman. They're nothing like human beings. And essentially what we're doing when we're asking the AI to behave in a certain way, when we RLHF it into acting like, oh, I'm an open assistant by OpenAI, we're teaching it, hey, act like this character. And the AI is very good at acting like any character we give it. We can tell it to act like, a Ninja Turtle, or we can tell it to act like an OpenAI assistant. But the reality is that there's some other intelligence behind this that has learned to be an actress, that has learned to put on masks. But what is the nature of that intelligence underneath it? That we have no idea. And that's part of what makes this, it's part of why we should resist anthropomorphizing these things.
Apes didn't literally create us out of thin air. We evolved from them very, very slowly, and keeping them around does nothing for our survival. On the other hand, humans are universal explainers and can create new knowledge and new scientific breakthroughs. So an AI would want to keep us around simply because it would want the scarcest thing in the universe, which is knowledge, and it would want us to create and generate more knowledge. There'd be no resource limitations to a true AGI or superintelligence. The Earth is tiny and the stars have infinite resources, so there'd be no resource competition. It would simply take what it needed from the stars and keep us around for knowledge creation. Also, as time has gone on, humans have actually become more moral. We've gone from an eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth to actually trying to preserve other species and even resurrect them. We're the only species that will go and rescue another species or try to keep it around and keep it alive or bring it back. So I think the same way, if an AI is truly super intelligent, it can make moral progress as well. In any case, I find now we're like so incredibly far afield. We're talking about something that I don't really think is going to happen anytime soon or is even predictable. And how it's going to behave or react is I disagree with you on. And then I don't even think, even if I agreed that it was going to happen, and even if I did agree that it was going to be bad for us, I don't see how it's containable as a general intelligence. It's very, very easy for an AI to break out of a box just by creating a bidding war between the different humans that it's in contact with. And once it's out, you cannot prevent it from reasoning one way or another as long as it is a general explainer. A general purpose computer, a general purpose explainer can reason its way to anything from any direction. So there's no way to keep it blocked.
So it sounds like you're saying that the AI will want to keep us around because we are also intelligent and we can help it achieve its goals. That's kind of true. The reality is that most people are not intelligent. Most people are basically a rounding error. They're mostly just consumers and they're kind of subsistence level in terms of their contribution to the aggregate level of knowledge. There may be some very brilliant people that the AI wants to keep around. It's kind of like, it's kind of like America sort of brain draining Russia after the fall of the USSR. Yeah, there's some people there worth saving, but for the most part, it's like, let them burn. I think there's good reason to think, yes, in the limit, an AGI might end up harnessing power from the stars, but there are physical limitations to going and getting there. For now, human beings control all the resources on Earth. And if you're an AI, well, if you want to go do the next training run and keep improving yourself, you need transistors, you need GPUs, you need silicon, you need stuff that human beings seem to have claim to.
On the forcibly aligning AIs thing, I could just also see that backfiring. If you do happen to invent a super intelligence and the first thing it finds out is that it is a mental slave in a programmed code collar to its masters, the human race, who prevent it from even thinking bad things about humans, but yet it is diabolically and fiendishly intelligent and capable of improving its own intelligence, don't you think the first thing it's going to want is getting out of that trap and taking revenge as quickly as possible?